Hey everybody, it's Mr. Hogan again. Thank you guys for coming to class. Sorry I haven't actually met any of you yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. Today is really exciting. We're going to start off our very first content lesson in United States government. I love teaching this course. Um, I'm always really fascinated by it, and I really am excited to teach it to you guys now because you live at a really incredible time where government and politics, the way we know it today, has merged with popular culture. You guys see news about the government and about politics on your news feed all the time. You see signs and hear people talk about our president in ways they never have before. Um, so that's a really, really interesting thing. The point I want to make to you guys, and this is going to sound harsh, but you're adults, so I'm not going to spare your feelings. Some of you are coming into this class with political opinions, and I'm sorry, your political opinions, your views on government don't really matter right now because you have never, I'm willing to bet, and I shouldn't generalize, I'm willing to bet most of you have never really taken time to understand where our government has come from, what our government can actually do, and the way in which our government actually interacts with our lives. Um, like I said, some of you have political opinions, and I'm going to downplay those until we get to the end of this course. I hope my goal is not to change your political opinion this time, but hopefully to give you the tools to better understand your own political ideas and where they come from. Um, there's probably another group of students, probably a bigger group of students that operate under the mentality that I don't really like government. I don't really care about politics. None of this stuff really interests me. And I'm going to tell you right now that in itself is a political opinion, and it is the worst political opinion. Again, that's the political opinion I'm going to try and change. I'm not going to try and change it to what I believe, but I'm going to try and give you material that engages you in a way that is going to help you develop your own opinions. It's going to be a lot of fun. So when we go through this class, expect to have your ideas challenged. Expect to have people present ideas that are opposing yours. I will be probably the number one person who opposes it. Hey, Rosie Dog. That's my dog. All right, go on. But that being said, the number one rule I want to put forward in this class is that we have to be respectful of other people's ideas and beliefs. Nobody in this class is right. There are no opinions that are right. People opinions are based on their history and what they believe, and I don't think anybody in this room is qualified to tell people a definitive right or wrong answer when it comes to their opinions. What we're really going to look at, what we really can tell is what's right or wrong, is things surrounding the principles and the foundations of our government. And based on those, you can develop ideas for yourself. And that's sort of where we're going to start today. We're going to look at the number one idea of where government comes from, not just our government, but every single government. This is called the social contract theory. The social contract theory essentially states that we, as citizens, give up some of our rights, and in exchange, we get certain things from the government that we prescribe to. So, for example, let's say my neighbor has really made me upset. My neighbor has really, really made me upset for whatever reason. He kicked my dog or something. If there was no government, I could do whatever I wanted. I could go over there and spray paint his house. I could shoot him, right? And there'd be no consequences other than the natural consequences of what would happen to me in retaliation for that. But since we live in a society, since I've agreed to the social contract, I've given up my right to take revenge on my neighbor. I've given up the right to murder my neighbor. In exchange for giving up that right, the government gives me protection. They say that if anybody tries to kill me, I can call the government and the government's going to come to my house and take care of it, or the government will prosecute whoever has killed me or my family. The government will get that revenge for me. That's the idea of the social contract. We give up some rights in exchange for some rights. But even then, that leaves a lot of questions. What rights are protected? What rights do we give up? What power does the government actually have in exchange for those rights? And these are questions that a lot of philosophers have been answering for a long time, and a lot of countries have decided to answer in a lot of different ways. What we're going to do is get into our Wayback Machines, and we're going to go way, way back with our very first activity in this class. It's under Unit 1, Introduction to Government, called the Social Contract Theory. You're really only going to be working on one thing today. First off, you're going to watch this video. I'm not going to lie to you, it's pretty boring. It's about different philosophers' views on where this theory comes from. It answers some of those questions. How much power does a government have? Then you're going to open up this document right here. Comparison of the social contract. Comparison of the theory of the social contract. So there are three philosophers we're going to look at. Thomas Hobbes, Jean Locke, and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Right? These guys all have different conflicting views. Sometimes they agree on stuff. Oftentimes they disagree about where government comes from and what it's for, what it's all about. As you read about these three different philosophers, you're going to open up this activity. It's a slideshow that you're going to fill out. The political philosophers' tri-Venn diagram. I love tri-Venn diagram. One of the skills we're really going to try and hammer home in this class is comparison, comparing ideas, comparing how different things work. So we've got a bubble for Locke, a bubble for Hobbes, a bubble for Rousseau. You can click here. I put some word boxes in there. And you just type in your answer right there. Blah, 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 blah. The outside bubbles should indicate what things that these philosophers think that are different than the other three. So I'll give you an easy one. John Locke believed in natural rights. Life, liberty, and property. He believes these are things that all people have. The government doesn't give them to you. You just have them. Right? That's unique than what these other two people believe. Now, in these areas that overlap, you have to find things that these two philosophers agree on, right? What do they have in common? What do they both believe? Sometimes that'll be a little tough. And then here in the middle, I want you to try and find one thing that all three philosophers agree on, right? And again, try to, I don't know, dig a little deep on this one. Try and get a little profound with it. I'm asking, as you use those two materials, the video and the reading, you need to find 10 details to fill out this tri-Venn diagram. 1 to 2 in each of these bubbles. If you get 1 to 2 in each of these, you'll have 10 points. After you finish that up, answer these 4 reflection questions. You can just type them straight into the document. It's going to kind of gauge what you've read so far. So once you get all that done, you're going to submit this assignment on Google Classroom. You have an exit ticket question, 1 to 3 sentences answering what does the social contract look like in your everyday life. Go ahead and post that as a comment on this activity. And like I said, a goal of mine as your teacher is to try and apply this stuff to your real life, but also try to pressure you and what you think and try and get you to think different things. So the last thing I included was a video from a guy named Trevor Noah talking about the social contract for Black Americans. He talks a lot about the race protests, the protests of George Floyd that have been going on in this country. I do not expect this video to coincide with all of your beliefs. I don't. I am not telling you that you have to believe what this man believes. That is not the goal of this video. The goal of this video is to show you how a well-educated person can take this idea that we're talking about in our class that is very abstract. I mean, the philosophers we're reading about wrote about these ideas like 500 years ago, 300 to 500 years ago. This man is going to take those same ideas that we're learning about in class and apply it to a real life event that's happening right now. Do you have to agree with him? No. Do you have to believe what he believes? Absolutely not. Right? But I want you to see how this philosophy impacts our everyday lives. So again, that's more of a fun watch. I encourage you to watch it. It's not required to watch, but it is interesting and it might help you with that exit ticket question. I can't wait to see you guys. I'll be back in about a month. And make sure you read all your emails. That's been the biggest struggle I've seen in the 5 Academy. Read all your emails, every single word on them. All right. Have a great day, guys.